All right, so these midterms have been billed as the most important in a generation, and the turnout is expected to be high.
Yeah, so what's at stake right here in Michigan? Dr. Dave Duilio, political science professor at Oakland University, here with us this morning to break it all down. We love having you on. Always such great insight. Let's start with Michigan and talk about the Democrats trying to crack some of those Republican-held offices. What are we looking at in terms of the chances of that happening?
Well, at the top of the ticket statewide, I think Democrats have a good chance. And that's not to say anything about any of the candidates that are running, actually. If we look at historical trends, Michigan has shown a proclivity to swing back and forth over the last 20, 30 years at the top of the government.
Sure.
We had Jim Blanchard serve for two terms as governor. Engler served for 3. Democrat to Republican, back to Democrat with Jennifer Granholm, back to Republican with Rick Snyder. It's only natural that it might swing back, likely to swing back to the Democrats this time.
You know, we've heard so much about how big early voting has been. I mean, setting records. It's been such a long time. Does it have a domino effect in a sense that if you hear that there's so much early voting going on, and let's talk about earlier than obviously today, does that bring even more people out to do it? Is it kind of like the, again, domino effect where, well, they're doing it, I'm going to do it, and more people are doing it?
I think that's a big question. We have to wait and see what the numbers are tomorrow morning, right? Because I think there's a scenario out there where those folks that voted absentee here in Michigan, 900,000 plus, right? Are they voters who would not have voted otherwise, or are they folks who would have normally shown up on Election Day where we're just sort of cannibalizing Election Day voters with the absentees? I think turnout will go up. The question is how much. Is it going to be this record-setting turnout for midterms, which, well, let's not forget, midterm turnout averages only about 40% over the last 20 or 30 years. Here in Michigan, last time around in 2014, we had 42% turnout. Does that get up to, say, a presidential level turnout or higher? I'm not so sure.
What difference, if any, will the change from being able to do a straight party ticket in the past make this year? In terms of results, if any? Do you think there'll be a change?
I think you'll see some marginal differences, right? I think, here's one race to watch, is that U.S. Senate race with Debbie Stabenow and John James, right? Here you've got an interesting dynamic, especially for maybe in Detroit, where a lot of African-American voters may look to John James as an African-American and say, hey, look, I might like to have an African-American represent us in the Senate.
But I want Gretchen Whitmer.
But I want Gretchen Whitmer. And I'm going to, so I'm going to go back and forth and split their ticket that way. That straight party option, no longer there, provides opportunities for people to go back and forth and choose candidate instead of party.
Which is kind of what we should be doing, I would think. I mean, you may believe strongly in one candidate and not another.
Absolutely, and it's not like you don't have that opportunity with the straight party section on there. It speeds things up a little bit for folks who want to vote one way down the ballot, right? But it's interesting that Michigan is only one of a few states that still has that option.
Right.
We don't this election, but it could be put back on the ballot if it would be put back as an option on the ballot if Proposal 3 passes.
Okay.
If you ask people out on the streets about everything going on with marijuana and all, it seems like everybody's very liberal with it. Yeah, you know, it's fine. Will people vote that way? Do we think they will?
Boy, Proposal 1, I think, is going to be the nail-biter of the 3 that are on the ballot. It looks like the polling has showed that there are 2 firm camps, and people are firmly in those groups. They are either absolutely for it or absolutely against it. It depends, like all of these races, on turnout, who shows up at the polls, which side gets their folks out to vote better wins. All
right, one last question. The country's so divided right now. People are so quick to jump on everything you say, everything you do, even what you wear. Is this going to change with this election? Will this solve any problems? Will this heal any wounds?
Short term, probably not. It's to take a look at the campaign that's being waged over the last several weeks. Goodness gracious, look at the commercial breaks on your air, right? It's pretty nasty, back and forth.
No, we hadn't heard.
So in the short term, I think Probably not. But what we need to be able to do is have respectful and civil conversations with each other, even with those we disagree with. And that's going to be, I think, a more... it's going to take more time for things to settle down. And frankly, we need some leaders who are willing to do that as well.
All right.
I think we're going to see you tomorrow. Are you coming back tomorrow?
Yeah.
I hope so. We could spend a
Same
whole
time,
hour
same
with
place.
you.
Would love
Doctor,
to.
great to see you.
Who knows what we'll be talking about tomorrow? Where will this all go?